Dus welkom iedereen. Thank you for joining us in this breakout session about cybersecurity and AI. It's a crucial role for Proximus to talk about those two topics. You already heard Sofie as well talking about those two topics. So I want to welcome you in this session. In the ever-evolving landscape of the digital age, Proximus has been in the forefront of innovation, connecting people, businesses and technologies. As we ride the waves of progress, it is imperative to acknowledge the crucial role that cybersecurity and artificial intelligence play in shaping the resilience and efficiency of our operations. Proximus, as a leading telco company and digital service provider, operates in a realm where connectivity is the lifeblood of our society. Our networks are the channels through which ideas, information and services flow seamlessly. With the privilege comes a profound responsibility to safeguard the integrity, confidentiality and availability of the digital ecosystems we facilitate. Today's conversation is therefore not just about the integration of cutting-edge technologies, it's about securing the foundation upon which our digital future is built. As we navigate an environment where cyber threats are ever more sophisticated, our dedication to fortifying our digital infrastructure has never been more crucial. And then we have the artificial intelligence topic, a technological marvel that empowers us to not only detect and mitigate cyber threats, but to do so with unprecedented speed and precision. Proximus has embraced the potential of AI to enhance our cybersecurity measures and ensuring that our network remains resilient in the face of evolving challenges. It's about ensuring that our customers, partners and stakeholders can rely on Proximus as a beacon of trust in a digital world. So thank you all for joining. This was a small introduction, but thank you for joining this panel about cybersecurity and AI. And therefore, we have 3 panel members. Thank you all. I will start with Miguel. Today we have the honor, just 2 seconds. Today we have the honor, Miguel, to join, to have you here on the stage. Miguel normally does not need any introduction because he is a well-known and influential person in the cybersecurity landscape. He already is there for about 2 decades, if I am correct. Yes, correct, more or less. And for those who does not know him, he is the CEO of the CCB. It's the Center for Cybersecurity in Belgium. So thank you for joining. Miguel, could you tell us something more about the CCB and the pivotal role it plays in Belgium?
Yes, thank you very much. Well, it's an honor to be here. I'm not that influential because I heard that influencers get money for what they tell. I don't get money for that. So, but anyway, the Center for Cybersecurity Belgium has been created 8 years ago by government. It's a government agency, an independent agency, and we work on the national strategy for cybersecurity. So, what should government agencies do to protect the country in the cyberspace? A cyberspace that actually is not a public space. To be honest, at home you connect with your personal computer, probably to a Proximus network, of course. A private network using private carriers to another company to servers that are not government owned. It's not like you have public space. If you leave your house, you're on the street. And there, governments, they can put cameras, they can put controls. In cyberspace, it's different. You're in private space. So we have to see what does that mean. How can we protect? What are the threats? That is very important against our population, our enterprises, government agencies, and critical infrastructure in that cyberspace. Because although it is not public space, we depend on that cyberspace. We have a coordinating role, so we depend directly from the Prime Minister, but also coordinate with police, with Justice Department, with defense, and with a lot of other entities. One of our major roles is also to develop the necessary legal frameworks. So we have been transposing NIS2. For those who don't know that, that's an EU directive, and it will be of impact on thousands of companies in our country. And it passed the Ministerial Council a few weeks ago for the first time. So we hope that this law will be published by the end of April, so that it can be applicable to those companies by October next year. If you have any questions on that, you can come and find me afterwards. Another important role is to write directives. Am I talking too long?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Directives and also incident response capabilities. Thank you.
Well, if it's important to tell, you can, but okay. We will come back to you, Miguel, later on. So then next to Miguel, we have Koen Simons. Koen Simons is the COO and CISO of Sentience, an AI technology startup in Antwerp, Belgium. Before joining Sentience, Koen worked for Verizon, if I'm informed correctly, and as a trusted advisor for customers focusing on cryptography, key management, data classification, and information rights management. And that's not all. He also has a PhD in engineering from the KU Leuven. So, Koen, that's impressive. Thank you for joining us in this panel.
Thank you for the intro, Sofie, and thanks for having me. Let me say a bit more about Sentience. I'll keep it short, I promise.
Thank you.
So at Sentience, our ambition is to be the most complete provider of what we call AI-generated motion insights. So we provide a globally validated platform that turns mobile sensor data into actionable insights on users' behavior, mostly mobility behavior. We have a strong belief that AI and data should be used for good, and so we try to create an impact by providing solutions for road safety, for instance, to coach people to be better drivers, and for sustainable mobility. We have clients from different segments. We work with very large organizations from the insurance and delivery space, but also banks and technology companies. They have very strict security and compliance requirements, and part of my role is to make sure we meet those requirements and to establish us as a trustworthy supplier of data processing services.
Okay, thank you, Koen. Thank you for this intro. Then Andy. Thank you for joining us as well. We go way back from the Proximus era where you were. When I joined Proximus, you saw me as a newbie, but hey, here we are in the panel today. So Andy Quaeyhaegens has been working in cybersecurity also for about 2 decades. And today, as a certified expert, he specializes in SSE, the Security Service Edge, part of the SASE framework, which is the Secure Access Service Edge. That is the core of the modern security architecture. He has also an extensive experience in the zero trust principles. Andy, can you tell me something more about yourself?
Thank you for the introduction, Sofie. Sure, I can. So I work for a company called Netskope, a software company that actually is born in the cloud and provides a security services edge solution for our customers so they can consume any service where they are at the speed as they are used to in the office. And you might think, well, why is someone like that here invited to the panel today on AI? Well, actually, we also use AI to protect our users. And given the spike of ChatGPT and other emerging technologies, it's needless to say, how can we control users of inputting the wrong data into the wrong application and share sensitive data with things they shouldn't have shared it with? So that's where I am, and that's me.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for keeping it short as well. Sorry, Miguel. Then let's start maybe very easy, an easy question on the topic of AI. I learned that AI is about something of my age, apparently. Could you clarify it, Andy, for me, where AI started and if it has the same age as mine?
Certainly, Sofie. So unlike AI, you are still young and pretty.
Yeah.
So AI actually goes back when it launched in a summer in 1956 in a town called Dartmouth, where they founded the AI Researchers Workshop. That's where it actually started. But before that, there was also Alan Turing, which made a machine, or which made a test, called the Turing test. And that was in 1950, by the way. And the Turing test actually is a machine being able to communicate with a human indistinguishable from another human being. And that's how Alan Turing actually applied the test to it. Now, moving fast forward in the timeline, the most close relationship to AI that we can have is, for example, a chess game. If you know Garry Kasparov, Garry Kasparov, world grandmaster, world champion in chess, he got beaten by his own game in 1996. Then moving on, there's Go. It's a strategy board game, and this board game is I also had a world champion, and that guy was Lee Sedol. And the last year he was world champion was 2016, where he got beat by a system called AlphaGo, also terminating his world domination on the board game. So, moving fast forward again another couple of years, today we have things like ChatGPT.
Yes.
And ChatGPT, based on a large language model, is a thing that we can actually call it narrow artificial intelligence. And it's the same as the chess. It's the same as the AlphaGo system that plays the board game. It's designed to do a specific task at massive scale.
Okay.
But it's not general intelligence, right? Unlike the AI, or unlike Garry Kasparov, who also had to raise kids, the AI system did not know how to do that. So that's the timeline where we are today, what we're facing.
Okay. Thank you, Ali, for this. Well, a second question maybe with regards to privacy, bias and accountability. Could you, Koen, elaborate more on that part and where the ethical considerations are in AI?
Yes, let me highlight a few of those. Well, first of all, we have the problem of bias and discrimination, which is a consequence of how algorithms are built and the data that you feed to it. But you also have a problem that stems from how you deploy AI, because, for instance, many people know the concept of a social media bubble, which is the idea that the more you consume certain content, the more you get presented the same type of content, thereby kind of reinforcing certain beliefs, which may lead to false perception around societal issues like safety and migration. Another problem is around what is called opacity. Opacity means that we can no longer say or explain why an algorithm is outputting either A or B. And it's something we humans feel very uncomfortable with, because we want our systems to be predictable, and we also want to be able to correct them in those cases. Now, the really tough problems with real ethical dilemmas stem from those systems that are either autonomous or where we apply automated decision making. Perfect example of an autonomous system is a self-driving car. If you end up in an accident, who's liable? The manufacturer of the car or the driver? And you also have the well-known problem of a car driving on the road. You have two persons crossing the road. One is 70 years old, the other is a child. There's a chance that the car can maneuver and avoid hitting one of the two persons. Which one should he choose? Tough problem.
Yeah, tough problem. Yes, indeed.
to decide upon. And then automated decision making is really problematic when the consequences can have a potentially negative impact that is substantial. For instance, would we rely on AI to make a judgment in a court case? Or would we trust an AI model that diagnoses and comes up with a treatment for a medical problem? Those are typical use cases where we still want human oversight. There are many more problems, but I'll wrap it up here. But we do need some sort of ethical compass to find a balance between innovation and responsibility.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Koen. Back to Miguel, maybe, about the indispensable ally that AI has become in ongoing battles against cyber threats. What are your thoughts about it on this matter, and will AI replace the human element?
Well, first of all, there is the backside, the less good side of artificial intelligence, in the sense that it will allow criminals to develop, for instance, in a very fast way, new malwares. And it will also allow them to create near to human deepfakes, in the sense that impersonation is like the fil rouge, the common thread in a lot of incidents, credential leaks and stuff like that. You get a phone call and you will hear your daughter saying, "I lost my phone." Now it's a WhatsApp message. In the future, it's possible that you will get an AI system with the voice of your daughter, and even that in a Teams meeting in the longer term, you will not even be sure that the person that you see or hear is really the person that is talking. So that is quite challenging, and therefore we will need other systems that allow us to identify people not only on their voice and the way they look like, because we'll never be sure in the future that's really those persons. On the other hand, AI will also allow us to do much better detection of anomalies. For instance, I heard the concept of finding the needle not in the haystack but in the needle stack. Currently our systems are generating so much alerts on a limited set of information that in the future, if you, for instance, your EDR, XDR, SIEM systems, they can also incorporate other corporate data. That they can not filter out the good and the bad incidents, but they can set up the priority much more sensible. For instance, somebody is logging in from a country on the other side of the world. If that system is linked to a corporate system saying, okay, this person now is on business trip or he is on vacation, that might make sense, for instance. If somebody every morning has a specific behavior, logging into his agenda, logging into his emails, then reading these times of files, and then suddenly that patterns change, but you know that he has just changed in a job, that alert can get another priority. So artificial intelligence systems will not only allow criminals to impersonate, for instance, in a completely different way, in a much better way, but will also allow us to improve the ways that we detect and prioritize those events and these alerts.
Okay, thank you, Miguel, for that. Maybe an important extra question. I want to address that question to you both. It's about the technology, the emergent technologies with regards to AI and cybersecurity, and of course the impact it already has on the regulatory landscape and the importance of international collaboration. So I think about the AI law, where is it stands, and so on. So could you maybe explain the audience something more about this?
I'll take that. Thank you. Well, as a small organization, we're always monitoring changes that might have an impact on how we operate our business. One of the things we've been closely following is the development of the AI Act, regulation proposed by the EU to really regulate the use from AI, exactly to address some of the challenges and the problems that I've mentioned before. Now, what is interesting is that the legislator has taken a risk-based approach, and depending on your risk level, you will be subject to certain obligations. Now, at the highest level, high-risk applications will need to implement a number of processes. Well, the operator of those systems will need to implement those processes around risk management, but also around data management. You need to be able to guarantee that you use high-quality data to train and validate your models. You need, of course, certain documentation. You need to ensure human oversight, and there's also a sort of assessment process where you need to also register your application in a central database. Now, also interesting is that the regulation talks about certain systems where the risk is unacceptable. Remote biometric identification is one of those, social scoring, and then any system that is trying to manipulate behavior in a covert way or targeting vulnerable groups, like you don't want toys which are voice enabled to kind of encourage a child to do something bad. And so they clearly say that those kind of systems are prohibited, and clearly those go in the direction of the criminal use of AI. And the thing that I can say is that the EU has been working on this for a couple of years now, and it's really nice to see how they are taking the forefront and a proactive role in trying to regulate and anticipate the issues with AI.
I'm just going to continue on that, because actually the EU is on the forefront of securing the regulations around the use of AI. Because we're actually considering within the EU, how can we make sure we have the boundaries in place before it goes wrong? In the North Americans, or in the North Americas, it's kind of different. They're waiting on AI to make the misstep and then correct when it went wrong. So I think from that perspective, we're doing it the right way. On the other hand, because AI is a tool that can now be used by the not so intelligent people that you can find in hackers collectives, that you can find in nation states attacks. Those guys, they have now, like, when you're part of a hackers collective, you're a smart coder, right? You're playing a part of the bigger group, and all those brains combined, they gave an effect. Now you can have a script kiddie who doesn't know what to do, but has a weapon, an arsenal to his disposal to make good harm of what he does not even know how to yield. So this is something we all should take into account, and also cybersecurity vendors like ours use AI to protect exactly against that.
Yeah.
And I think we're far over time.
Yeah, we are far over time. So we need to wrap up, I guess. We had one final statement, maybe, Miguel, that you want to make? Very short and sweet.
Very short and I think it's a wonderful new technology. It can be used for the good and the bad. So let's make sure that we use it, especially for the good.
Okay. Thank you all for listening.
Proximus next. Think possible.